What's up, guys? This is the Kaufman is Live YouTube channel. I look at comic books new and old. Today I'm looking at a new comic book, Venom number 34. It's written by Al Ewing and the art is by Juan Ferreira. And Cafu does the cover. And I like this cover because it actually shows what's going on in the comic book, which is rare these days. A lot of times we get comic books that just have static covers or characters that aren't even in the book. Or artists that have nothing to do with the title. At least we've seen Cafu draw some Venom comics before in this series. And like I said, we've got the villain of the comic fighting the hero of the comic on the cover of the comic. So you can't ask for anything more. Like the logo here too, classic Venom logo, which you can't beat. And it's got the little blood splatter coming out of it to show that this is a Blood Hunt tie-in. This Venom series started off super promising, I felt like. Al Ewing is the writer. They had Brian Hitch on art. The King in Black storyline had just ended, and it seemed like Venom was about to become the center of the Marvel Universe. But that didn't really happen. This whole Venom series has been basically one big long mind trip where Venom has been kind of stuck in his own dimensions and stuck in his own mind trying to figure out how to deal with the power of the King in Black. But I really love the art in this issue, especially when we start getting into more of the horror aspects, some of the weird creatures, and the Venom symbiote. The art in here is spectacular. And I only know Juan Ferreira from Venom. He did the last issue, number 33, and this issue. Maybe I've seen his artwork before, but this stuff really was standing out to me. And that's why I wanted to cover it. And while the artwork is really good, the storyline here is just a confusing mess. So I'm going to take a second to read this previously on Venom blurb here. And I want you to see if you can make sense of it while I read it. Eternal night and hordes of vampires descend upon Earth. Okay, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're in the Blood Hunt. We know that so far. After murdering Dylan Brock, Carnage, the bloodthirsty symbiote bonded to serial killer Cletus Cassidy, traveled to the Garden of Time to hunt his next victim, Eddie Brock. Though Eddie and the other incarnations of the King in Black escaped, Carnage destroyed the garden, leaving Eddie and Meredith last in the time stream. Venom managed to stabilize Dylan's body, abandoning him and swearing never to bond to a host again, and the boy's soul slipped away to the eventuality, Eddie Brock's final form at the end of time, where Dylan asked it 5 questions. Okay. At a cemetery, a zombified Lee Price, former host to Venom, rose from his grave where he attacked the symbiote, seemingly at the behest of the captive, a hyper-lethal extraterrestrial symbiote vampire. Meanwhile, Dylan awoke, only to find himself at the mercy of a vampiric priest intent on vengeance against Eddie. Yeah, so just a completely, absolutely batshit insane plot here. I thought Dylan had died, but apparently he's not dead. And he's awoke at the bedside of this vampire priest. It's so kind of ridiculous. I like how this layout of this church, though. You see all the pews. There's just Dylan here. And, or this is actually Eddie Brock, because this is a flashback. And the priest is walking up to Eddie here. And I like how this artist is drawing Eddie and Venom in the flashback. They have more of a cartoonish style than everything else in the book. Like this Venom right here. Doesn't look like anything else in the book. It's inked differently. It's colored differently, drawn differently. And same with this little, just this small little picture of Eddie Brock here. Compared to the priest, it doesn't look rendered as much. Looks colored, like in a brighter colors. So I just find that really interesting. Like I said, once we start getting into the monsters here, the art really picks up. This vampire priest is just trying to, turn Dylan, essentially. And we get to the main story here of the Venom symbiote, who's not, has no host at this point. It's just the symbiote. And we get this zombie Lee Price who's deciding whether to bond with Venom the symbiote to battle this creature called the Captive. And I really like this face down here of Venom. It looks like a little kitty cat, like seeing his master come home. And I like this face too. Really well drawn stuff. And I like how the border, every border here is a symbiote. There's no like normal border. They're all drawn in as like symbiote goop. It looks really cool. Just every panel has some really interesting stuff to look at. Like Nosferatu is what this looks like here. So, I don't know who this Captive character is. He looks almost like a Jack Kirby creation. A character created in the Silver Age. Maybe he is. If you know, let me know in the comments. But he's like basically a symbiote hunter. And as we get this incredible splash page here, as Lee Price bonds to the Venom symbiote, I love how the symbiote's like going over part of the mouth there, and we still get more mouth in the back here. Looks like Ultimate Capcom vs. Marvel or something. When there's that big symbiote beast, you know, if you ever played that game. But this Nosferatu character, this Captive, he's explaining to Eddie that the vampires hate the symbiotes because they look at them as competition. So the vampires are looking to take out the symbiotes as well, which is basically what the Blood Hunt tie-in here is, along with this vampire priest who bites Dylan, but Dylan's got the symbiotic blood, so it's like poison to the vampire who didn't know that Dylan was part symbiote. And Dylan stabs him right through the heart and kills the vampire priest, and he says, "You fight like a priest." So we get some more of this. I like how the Venom symbiote, it has reverted back to his Lee Price form of the Venom symbiote, which we haven't seen yet in this series. Really cool stuff here. Love this face. But kind of a weird way they just end this battle here as the Captive tries to absorb Venom, but he can't do it. And it just causes him to start eating himself. Venom says he makes him experience pain for the first time. So no real rhyme or reason to how Venom did this. Unless it's kind of the same idea as the vampire priest who tried to bite Dylan and was poisoned. I kind of gather that that's what's going on here as well to the Captive, although it's not told quite as well. But some really cool portraits here of Venom. I like these poses. He says, "This is my body. This is my venom." So kind of a play on the, this is the blood of Christ sacrament there. But we get the return of Meredith, who we thought was dead in the last issue. But he's like the most ultimate evil form of Eddie Brock Venom. And he's still lost in the time stream with the Venom symbiote, as we found out. And Lee Price decides to bond with Meredith. So Meredith steals Lee Price from Venom, leaving Venom just this puddle without a host. And I like this last final page. This looks really cool. This almost looks drawn by Brian Hitch, although I'm pretty sure it's still Juan Ferreira. But this leads us right into the Venom War. So Meredith says the war begins. I like this Venom puddle. I like the color, the bright pink colors in the background. Really cool final shot here. We get the whole Blood Hunt checklist. Are you checking out any of these comics? Let me know in the comments. And I recommend this issue for sure. Really like the art in it. And let me know what you guys think. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. And I'll see you on the next video.